Alright, welcome to Race 2 at Donington, here for the first venue of TOCA, and for this I have qualified 9th, and it was the other runner this time who took pole position, that being Jason Plato, and I qualified 9th in this race, which is only one position lower than from what I had in the first race, and well, basically from 8th position, I went onwards to win the race. Also, another thing I should mention is, since I've now got 15 points on the board, I need a minimum finishing position of 6th position or better in order to meet the minimum points requirements, and the main reason I'm here is because, well, basically, my PC decided to throw a wobbler, so I had to restart it, and hopefully everything will run a little bit smoother now. Anyways, let's head to the start of the race. Okay, so I need to finish in 6th position or better in order to move on, and trying to see if my PC can cope with the intense pressure of recording in 1080, and well, at the moment it doesn't seem to be doing so, but I am trying to see if I can at least get this race in, because I really do want to try and get at least the first venue of this game in the books. I'm already up to 6th position now, and oh, he wrecked me. Fuck you. He wrecked me. I'm pretty sure he just wrecked me. Yeah, that incident was not my fault, by the way. I clearly got wrecked. There was no way in hell I was going to take responsibility for that. Oh, look at Derek in the points. Derek is up in the points, which is one thing I didn't suspect he was going to be doing so early. But anyways, there we go. So, I think it was one of the Audis that wrecked me whilst I was here. And now moving up into 8th position and trying to clear the Honda. Thankfully I have done, and the lowest I fell down to as a result of that wreck was 11th position, but I am hoping to at least rectify myself from the crash and see if I can at least get myself back up into the top 5, which is where I would like to be. I'm already up into my minimum scoring position of 6th. I'm also pretty sure it might be a little bit harder to get a weekend sweep, and I just forced one of the Hondas off track, as which I am going to assume that was Tarquini I forced off the track, as which, oh, and one of the Renaults has spun. I don't know who that was, but could it have been Plato? I've got a feeling that first Renault might have been Plato. At least that's the way I see it. I think it was Plato who spun there, although it could have been Menu, because, well, Plato did start on the pole unless he had a poor start, and one of the Audis is actually running inside the top 3. And I'm now up into the lead as we speak, and now heading under the Dunlop Bridge. I am already 15 seconds up on my first lap, meaning that I clearly have more pace on this lap than I did on the previous lap, and I'm just hopeful in saying I can at least manage to put it all together. But anyways, so now completing lap 2 here at Donington. Of course, this is the GP circuit, and I should also mention Donington I can technically regard as being my home track, because, well, Donington is technically the closest circuit I live to, as of which Donington is located just a few miles outside Nottingham, and well, because I am basically a country boy from Derbyshire, I can definitely say I'm not too far from here. And oh my god, oh shit, I should have known that was going to happen. Yep. Nothing about this could get any worse. Absolutely nothing. I stand corrected, it can get worse. Although, the impact was a lot less than I was anticipating it to be, which I guess you could say is something. But again, difficult to say for sure if that's what I was anticipating or not. Although then again, it probably wouldn't surprise me too much if this does become a weekend sweep, because well, the early stages of this game are relatively easy compared to the later stages. We also have to complete both races on the weekend in order to save our game progress, meaning of course that is something else I will have to be wary of, but hopefully if my PC does not manage to throw too many wobblers, I can at least manage to get the first 2 races of the season done, meaning I do not have to worry about this once I get into the later stages of the game. But anyways, I am already up into lap 4 now, so already about probably 16% of the way there. Well, 16.6% to be more specific if you do maths like I do. And at the moment, this is looking to be probably my best lap of the race so far. And well, even though I did have to restart my computer before recording again to make sure everything was running smoothly, qualifying was a bit of a hack. To quoting Denny Hamlin, qualifying I can pretty much say was a hack, because even though my first lap wasn't too bad, the other 2 laps I had, they were total duds. Anyways, I am looking like I will achieve the weekend sweep here at Donington, as I now head down into the first hairpin, and everything seems to be functioning normally. And I am now coming up to the end of lap 4, and now I just have to try and see if I can survive the remaining 14 laps. Hopefully. And I am in the grass. Oh well. Still haven't beaten my 1 minute 40 time, which is something I should try and do eventually, and I just hit the braking signboard. And even though I thought for sure that was going to be a 360 spin, somehow it was only about probably a 200-degree spin. At least judging by what I could see. But anyways, I am still leading this thing. Doesn't look as though there is going to be any opposition that will prevent me from achieving the Donington sweep to start out the season. It's not going to be a perfect 32 points, because I would need to achieve the pole in both races and win both the races in order to achieve that. But at the moment, and I know it's only early doors, but at the moment it looks as though this probably will more or less end up being a weekend sweep. At least that's the way I think it will go. But anyways. Everything seems to be running smoothly at the moment, and I've now completed 5 laps up to this point. And even though I keep on spinning, I can definitely say I'm spinning in dominating fashion. Which, oddly enough, I do think is better than what I was anticipating, but you know. Anyways, I am now already a second faster than my previous best lap time, probably because I haven't spun yet. And I am hopeful in saying I can at least manage to set at least 1 lap time within the high 130s. I'm suspecting it's going to be in the 139s, but it could be in the 138s if I get lucky. And I manage to string this lap together, because I'm pretty sure I can go faster than a 1 minute 40, and looks as though I am pretty much into the mid 138s, and shifting down on the exit of the chicane, because I do not want to end up wrecking myself whilst I'm trying to make this lap my personal best lap. And it looks as though I am now closing in on the 2 Fords the way I see it, and looks as though it's one of the Nissans that is at the back. As a matter of fact, I could see one of the Nissans with one of the... Oh, okay. It was in the low 138, that lap. So one of the Nissans is near the back of the pack with one of the Volvos, and really trying my hardest to not wreck myself in front of the Volvo, although it doesn't matter because he just basically spun himself out in the process. Just really trying my hardest to not wreck my other opponents, even if that does mean going off track. But up to this point, everything is going very well, all things considered, because I am now already leading this thing by quite a substantial margin. Although I cannot say what margin I'm leading it by for sure, because, well, the game only really tends to show the margins in front of me, not the margins behind me. And looks as though the Peugeot is... Sorry, is that one of the Peugeots there? Yeah, it has to be. Yep, it is one of the Peugeots, and he's closing in on my teammate Derek. I will make sure he does not pass, even though Harvey does look as though he has some serious pace, and he almost put me into the wall, but somehow that did not happen. And I'm now officially at 7 laps in completion. So I would imagine every team is probably going to score at least 1 point before the season is out, but dependent on knowing if every driver will score points remains to be seen. And oh, fuck me. I did a 720 spin there. I'm pretty sure that spin was a 720 that I just achieved there. I thought for sure that was going to be worse, but somehow that was actually pretty cool, all things considered. And I might actually need a sip of water before this is all over, because I'm already getting dehydrated. And we're not even at the halfway point yet. Okay, and I think this is the best time to do it. Okay. I am back into action after rehydrating my voice. So now heading up to the final 2 hairpin turns, and officially I am now closing in on the halfway point, so everything appears to be going smoothly at the moment, going a lot smoother than I thought things were going to be, and I am up into 8 laps of completion, and I've almost overlapped half the field now the way I see it, as of which I would imagine those fucking hell. Oh, I guess it's just gonna be a day of spin, spin, spin. Spin and win. Kind of like what Max Verstappen did at Hungaroring a few weeks ago. Or nearly a few weeks ago, in fact. Because he basically did a spin and win. After Ferrari had once again cocked up their strategy. But even then, of course, Red Bull were able to capitalise on Ferrari's overdosed blunders, and as a result, it was technically Verstappen who came through to effectively win that race, even though he was closely followed by his former rival Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, Max was able to still win the race in the end, so it is fair to say, all things considered, Max is the clear favourite to winning the championship now. Because, well, I think Ferrari and Charles Leclerc by now have probably fallen well behind in terms of their championship campaign, because things are not going very well. Can I please get one lap where I don't spin? Because that would be nice. Well, good thing to know no one's in front or behind me. Which I can say is a good thing. But anyways, I am now up into the second half of the race, and into the second half now of lap 10. I still have 8 laps to go following this one, and I'm also pretty sure this is going to be pretty interesting to see how the rest of this race will unfold. At least by the time I catch up to lapped traffic, it will be interesting to see what happens. Okay, won't be able to take a sip from here because the straight is not long enough. Okay. Yeah, my voice is quickly dehydrating, and I am pretty sure I will have to take some more water sooner or later. I'll attempt to take it here. Oh, careful. Yeah, that basically tells you something, folks. Never drink and drive. That's one thing you should never ever do. Especially if you're drinking water or alcohol. Never drink and drive, folks. That's basically what Black Flags Matter will tell you. From one of his NASCAR bust videos. As of which, that is precisely what Rob Moroso did. At least I think that was his name. But yeah, anyways. So yeah, basically my point is never drink and drive. Even though I am attempting to do it because, well, I have to keep my voice alive. because if I don't, then you will be wondering why my voice is dehydrated. Anyways, so I still have another 7 laps to go following this one, as of which I will be coming through to complete 11 laps this time around here at the Donington GP circuit for race 2. And I now have just 7 laps to go and presumably another 13 minutes of driving. So plenty of opportunities for my voice to die, basically. And it wouldn't surprise me if that does happen before this race is over. So, my best lap time up to this point is now a 1 minute 38.2. I've practically lapped almost half of the field up to this point, as of which I think 7 cars have now been overlapped, and I think this will now definitely make it 8, because I'm overlapping one of the Audis, and the Nissans are battling hard with one of the Peugeots and the Fords. So Nissan is definitely not having a good day. A good second race here at Donington. Because even though one of them was able to score points in the first race, the other one, however, was not. And I just spun out one of the Fords. Although it doesn't matter because he still rejoined the track. I had to clear him. I did try my hardest to race him cleanly. That was not an intentional incident. I can assure you I was trying to clear him, but unfortunately he would not let me through, probably because he was throwing the block. And really clearing the lapped traffic now as I move on to lap 13. 12 laps are now under my belt as I head through the first right-hander once again. I do also have a picture of the Donington map on my phone, but of course I will have to do some extensive reading on the image I took to get a thorough study of the track itself. And surprisingly, 5th gear through that corner actually worked. I do also know this is an uphill complex before heading down the hill again, I would suspect, in just a matter of seconds. Although it looks like I'm still heading uphill at the moment, but anyways. Now heading down under the Dunlop tyre bridge once again, heading into the chicane, and now it looks as though I'm coming to overlap the second of the 2 Hondas, as of which I have been noticing Hondas in the qualifying session attempting to block me, but I don't think any of them actually wrecked me, even though I'm pretty sure someone did wreck me at the start of the race. But again, because I'm dominating this one, I've practically forgotten about who that was, unless they show it in the highlights reel, and this is definitely going to be a new best lap time. I was 2¼ seconds quicker on that one lap alone. That is unbelievable. Oh, okay. And yep, I should have known that was going to happen. Okay. Well, anyways. I have now set a new best lap time, and it's basically on the verge of being a 1 minute 36 dead. Oh, he almost spun me. Oh, fuck you. Fuck you. He just spun me around. I was literally trying to clear him, and then he basically tapped me. He practically pulled off a Matt Neal on me. As of which I should mention, Matt Neal has been involved in more than his fair share of incidents as a BTCC driver. Although some of his most intense incidents did happen with Jason Plato. But yeah, what happened there with that Honda, he basically pulled off a Matt Neal on me. I was basically trying to clear him, but then he just decided to wreck me for one reason or another. Well, it was either that or he basically pulled off a Dale Earnhardt on me. Even though technically, if that was a Dale Earnhardt style incident, he would have probably been leading and he would have spun me out just to create a caution. Although I should mention caution flags don't exist in this game, but I'm now already up into the final 4 laps of this race, and now here I am. The scoreboard tells the story on lap 15. I am still in the lead in my red Mobil 1 Vauxhall Vectra. Doesn't look as though anyone is going to be preventing me from achieving the Donington GP sweep. And it looks as though from here everything is pretty much going to be smooth sailing, as we are now heading up to the backstretch, as of which this is the longest straight on the entire course. Overlapping Derek now for a second time. He does race me cleanly, thank you very much. And still attempting to drink water to keep myself hydrated whilst I continue racing, and approaching the 2 Volvos now, as of which I'm going to suspect it's one Volvo overlapping the other. I would think it has to be Ricard Rydell, who is the leading Volvo in this instance, just overlapping his teammate Leslie Burt. And now approaching the Peugeot once again, as of which I am going to assume it is probably the 1992 BTCC champion Tim Harvey, who is once again being Mr. Zoom. Although I do know someone who did actually manage to win championship mode driving a Peugeot, although because I want to set my marks, that's obviously why I have chosen Vauxhall. Although things are not going very well at the moment because I keep going off track. Although at least I can say there aren't any major track limit violations, and it looks as though my computer is really starting to throw a wobble now. So I'm really going to have to hope I can get this race over with as soon as possible, because I still have 2 laps to go. And I'm pretty sure that was my computer which just threw out the glitch effects. It's still running at least, but I'm sincerely hoping it does manage to hold on for just a little bit longer, because then that's where I can save the game. So yeah, so overall my PC is okay with recording in 1080 progressive scan, but then after a while it really starts to get annoying and the effects do eventually start to show through, but I think my PC is doing okay now. Must have been a minor glitch, but I have noticed it does tend to do that a lot. Thankfully, however, I do not have much longer in this race to go. I am now a quarter of a second up on my previous PB, PB being short for personal best, and never mind. because I just keep being Mr. Spin. I am practically what Murray Walker would point out as being spin, spin, spin. As of which, that I probably think was one of the greatest examples of Murrayism. Murray Walker, of course, to those of you kids who don't know, is arguably the greatest motor racing commentator of all time. Or was, because, well, he died only last year. March of 21, I think, is when his death was. Right before the start of the 21 season, I believe. But yeah, I mean, anyways, final lap. So to those of you kids who are growing up watching David Croft as the lead announcer for F1 races, the one thing I can probably tell you about Murray Walker is that, well, he was basically a living legend. He is probably about as good as a motor racing commentator can get. And the Honda really paid the price there. Of course, I did no contact with him whatsoever. He basically just spun off into the gravel by himself as he was trying to throw the block on me, but again, it wasn't going to work because I was already there. And now I head into the closing stages of this lap. And fortunately, we do not have to race on the GP layout again for the rest of the season, and I am closing in on some back markers again. Is that one of the Renaults I'm closing in on? Judging by the colour. But anyways, yeah. So Murray Walker, he was basically a living legend as a commentator. That is one of the Renaults I'm closing in on. Anyways, I will now mute myself as Tiffany Dell gets ready to give the post-race explanations.
Once again, the new Vauxhall driver has proven himself a winner. Now, the race positions.
Oh, okay. So it was Menu who took second in the end of that race. Plato comes home in third, followed by Thompson, Beeler, Rydell, Tarquini, and David Leslie completes the top 8 for Nissan. And then for the rest of the standings, we had Bintcliffe ahead of Harvey. Burt finishes in 11th ahead, once again, of Derek Warwick. Hoy 13th ahead of Reed. Radicic was 15th, and Patrick Watts finishes in last. So, is there a setting for me? Oh, okay.
Race is over. Let's see the championship table. It's still anyone's championship, but the new Vauxhall driver is certainly looking good.
Thank you, Tiff. That's very well appreciated. Also, I should mention, I don't think we're going to get any thumbnails from the highlights. I don't think so. I think I might just use the whatever the track is giving me for my thumbnail shots. Anyways, we can save the game once we have done one race weekend. And of course, I will in fact save the game now, because obviously that's what I need to do. And that's now 2 races down and still 22 to go.